Hey, what's good, people? Welcome to 101, and this is the Man City review. I'm just going to put this up on here so that you lot can see these banners. The game at the moment is stopped about 80 minutes ago, and realistically, is an injury to a player, and that's what's kind of keeping it down a little bit. But yeah, I think we all know what's going on here. I think we all are feeling that this was a bridge too far for Arsenal. And seriously, guys, a lot of sad faces around at the moment. And really, we got to sit down here and we got to talk about it. So overall, as you guys know, David Luiz for the first goal, the ball comes in from the right-hand side, and he looks like he tries to get in front. He tries to get a knee to it, and it just really bounces off. He mistimes it, and it falls to Raheem Sterling on the 6-yard line, and he blasts it into the net from the side. In the second one, which I was really pissed off about, not only because he's given a penalty, but because he's actually sent him off. He's given him a red card, a straight red. And earlier on in the first half, Eden Nketiah was being chased down in the midfield, and he was being brought down. If you look at my Twitter spot, I posted it, I recorded it, and sent it on my Twitter handle. And it shows you Nketiah being chased, being pulled. First of all, his shirt is being pulled. Then he just gets dragged down to the floor. Nothing. The same thing happens in this instance. And then Man City not only get a penalty, but the player gets sent off. So it's kind of double standard. It's really, look, you're not going to get decisions. Every game like this, it feels like Arsenal just don't get the decisions that you want. And look, this player is still down here. You'd think after 7 minutes, they'd stretcher him off. Yeah, it's mad. You think after 7 minutes. Yeah, and it's Garcia. He's been down there for 7 minutes, still being readied for a stretcher, so he could be fitted onto it. The medical staff aren't taking any precautions, so that's why they're taking their time. Clearly, they're concerned about it. So he's carried off the pitch in an oxygen mask. And this isn't really what he wanted, because Garcia, this was his first game that he started. And it's a real shame that it's ended like this for him. This is what makes me laugh, though. A lot of people are saying, oh, what's going on? Why are Arsenal run out of gas? And why? Well, first of all, they're not 100% fit. They've been training for 3 weeks. And the managers, all of them said, you need to be training for... Oh, let me just bring in Danny. Yeah, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man? What's up?
Yeah, I was just saying, I was just on the podcast, and I'm just saying that everyone's complaining about our players falling like flies, and we're running out of gas. You know, there was an instance where Leno threw the ball out quickly. Guendouzi got the ball, and he was like, yeah, okay, who's on for this? Who's going to break with me? He turns to his left. He sees Ceballos walking because he's absolutely gassed, and Willock was just standing, you know, kneeling with his hands on his knees. They were just beat. So, you know, normally they've only had 3 weeks training, and every manager said you need 6 weeks minimum. So they've only been out there training in half the time. That's one. Two, Man City are running the legs off you. So they're running rings around you. So they're just getting more tired with the fact that they're unfit. And it's just really, there's nothing you can really say about it.
Nah, and the fight's been taken out of them through the match as well, isn't it? We've just been getting battered, man. Like, yeah. David Luiz, mate.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm a big advocate of how he's changed. He's been our best defender since Arteta came in. He's the reason why we've looked rock solid. But I'm going to say, first off, straight away that, yes, I defend him. He's been our best defender. And then secondly, Arteta said before the game he didn't start him because he wasn't fit. He wasn't ready. And then we're being forced to play him like this. It's kind of a bit weird. James, good to see you in the chat, James. Really humbling defeat. Football Daily says it's terrible. Yeah, it is terrible, but it's nothing short of what we've suffered through. There's 11 minutes added on now. 11 minutes added on. Guys, in the last 6 games, City have averaged 3 goals a game against us. In this game, We've only let 2 goals in. Both of them have been mistakes by
3. They scored another one.
Oh, they scored another one. Okay. Well, I'm on 90 minutes. Yeah, I'm on 90 minutes. So, but David, yeah, there is the 3rd goal's just gone in. And overall, David Luiz, as I said, I'm defending the fact that he's been our best defender, and Arteta saying before the game that he wasn't fit to play. And we've lost 2 centre-backs. Mustafi's crocked as well. I mean, that 3rd goal is just horrible. That 3rd goal, you can now see that Ceballos was just standing on the penalty line. He just wasn't even moving. He saw the player running into the spot to get the rebound, and he just couldn't be bothered to make that. They're gassed. They're absolutely gassed.
I think the problems are deeper than that, Apollo, though, man. Because
oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
If we look at Luiz's errors, they were quite. They're nothing to do with his fitness, man. They were just terrible errors, man. Like the first one, the control. I think you could put that down to rust, but that was something. If Mustafi did that, we would never hear the end of it. Like we would never hear the end of it. And the last one, that was a schoolboy error, bro. You know when you're pulling a man, sometimes a player gets past you. We've all played football here, yeah. When a player gets past you, you got to pull him a bit. But you know, once they cross that white line, let go. Let go. And this guy always does it, bruv. Like I was defending him last week as well. You heard me. Like I always defend Luiz because I think he's a good player. First thing he did when he come on, sprayed a beautiful ball. But that was schoolboy.
I didn't think it was a red card. And one thing that bothered me before you guys came into the chat, I was talking about when Eddie Nketiah was brought down in exactly the same way in the midfield, and the referee just waved it off.
That Garcia guy brought him down. I saw that.
And I've put it on my Twitter feed. I've actually put it on the Twitter feed showing Nketiah getting dragged down in the same way referees just waved it off. This time it happens to them in the area, and not only do they get a penalty, but Luiz gets sent off.
I think it was because it was clearer. With Luiz's one, he had a bait hand on his shoulder, and there was distance between him and the player, so you could see what he was doing.
He had 2 hands around the player.
Mate, I agree with you. I was so fuming about that because. But the only point I'm making is I don't think we would have lost this game had Luiz not been playing. Like you're saying, it might be his fitness or whatever, but I do not think because we were handling them nicely. Do you know what I mean? They were getting through 1 and 2 times, but it weren't nothing serious. Like it was always like a half chance here. As soon as Luiz comes on, bro, they're just it's so annoying, man. Like because I defend that guy, but when he does schoolboy stuff like that, it's like you're 33, bro. You're not 13, man.
I'm still going to defend him because I know straight away that he wasn't. You know, Arteta said he wasn't fit. So when you get Mahrez was in through on goal, he would have scored anyway.
Yeah, so but that was Luiz's fault anyway because he got attracted to the ball instead of trying to cut the angle off. He got attracted to the ball. He should have just gone behind and cut the angle off. Tony Adams would have never done that. He knows how slow he is. He's going to cut the angle off. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you know, he shouldn't have been starting. He wasn't fit. It was shocking to actually see him come on, knowing that Arteta had already said in the pre-game that he's not fit. He said he's not fit. And then you're getting him to run around with Mahrez, De Bruyne, Sterling, Villa. Come on, man.
I mean, what choice did he have? There wasn't really anyone else. I mean, I think the fitness thing is like completely out of order. I don't care if he's fit or not. I mean, regardless, he's just a terrible defender, and he's always prone to mistakes. And I told you guys this last week when we were talking about extending his contract. He's finished. I mean, he's past his prime. You guys were talking about how he's the most experienced player in our squad and stuff. And look at that. Within 25 minutes, he basically gave the whole game plan away. He gave the game away completely. And I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be his last match. It has to be his last match for Arsenal. There's no way that he comes back and plays another match this season for us without the fans, you know, questioning Arteta. And not only the fans questioning Arteta, but the players questioning. Because imagine the players going into the dressing room after this match and looking at him in the eyes, knowing that he threw away the game for everyone. I'd be really disappointed.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I think he'll play as soon as he can after they sort the red card out. And my reason for that is, you know, fans are fickle. If you're at the top level where the footballers are, you wouldn't be thinking about what the fans think. This guy, as I said, he was a linchpin for our defense this year in 2020. All it takes is a game like that, and all of a sudden everything goes out the window. So I can't agree with that at all.
Come on, Apollo. Mistakes has he made? he's made these same mistakes earlier in the season. It's not the first game that he's done this. He's done this like 3-4 games.
Yeah,
so,
I know. But who else are you going to put in there? Mustafi, who does the same thing?
Not really. Mustafi has clearly been playing better than him. Mustafi had a really good match today, to be honest. I mean, he didn't do anything bad.
Yeah, Mustafi hasn't put a string of games together. So Luiz has been the best defensive back, centre back since Arteta's taken over.
Out of a bad bunch,
yeah, without the doubt. Look, is that another one? No, it's not. So he's had a bad game today. He wasn't fit. He shouldn't have been playing. You don't chastise him for the whole season just because of that. You just can't do that. And again, it just displays how fickle our fans are when you have a game like that and they throw you under the bus.
But it's not. I just explained to you that it's not one game. It's 3-4 games. So it's not off of one game that I'm saying this. You can ask him as well. I mean, it's not only me. Do you think I'm fair in saying that? I mean, it's not the first time.
No, I don't, because under Arteta, he's been rock solid. It's been rock solid.
Is this the first time that David Luiz has let down the team and is given a penalty away and has gotten sent off?
No, it isn't. But I'm talking about current form. His current form has been really good.
He's
and he's had a bad game. And then you're going to put in Mustafi, who's a serial offender. Yeah, Dan.
You see with Luiz, I'm in the middle of both of you guys, innit? Yeah, because you remember last week we were talking about him, innit, Apollo? Like I think he's definitely got something to offer, and I don't feel like you can kill people after an error. Like you can't do it, but we can talk about what happened in this game here, and we have to say that without Luiz making those shocking errors, bruv, like we probably wouldn't. We might have lost the game, who knows? But we definitely wouldn't have got battered the way we did.
Yeah, we were getting sliced apart. If you guys know, I do the game. I do the game vlog on 101 forums, and as I was writing that through, towards I think it was in the 38th minute, you could see the tactics and the mind games between Arteta and Pep. And what was happening was, Pep was shutting down Arsenal playing out from the back. He was really, really putting the heat on Arsenal. And Arteta really, really had his game plan sorted. He was cutting off those passing lanes, just what I was talking about on Sunday's show. And that's how you beat Man City. He was doing exactly that. But Pep started to get, our legs were going. Pep started to get the better of us and we were getting overrun. And Leno had nowhere to go with the ball. He was being told to play at the back. Everything he saw, it was 6-7 blue shirts in our half. You just could not play the ball at the back. So we were kicking the ball long. City was recovering it, and it was an onslaught. We couldn't do anything. It was almost like checkmate towards the end of the first half.
No, I agree with that, Apollo. Yeah, I see that as well. But do you know what? When we had Pablo Mari on, his composure. Him and Leno have got a nice little rapport going on. So I saw that exactly the same thing happening. In the first part of the half, it's like they were gauging us in the first half of the first half. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like they were gauging us. And then you saw them step it up and trying to close us down in defence. But when we had Pablo Mari and Leno doing because they had a good rapport between them. We see it. Every time Leno got it, he was feeding it to Mari. And then Mari was always feeding it back to Leno. And they had a nice little thing going on. But when Luiz come on, you could see there was that sort of jangly nerves, bro. You could literally see it live. Like you could see he's similar to Mari, but he doesn't quite have the composure anymore that he used to have. Well, I don't think he's ever had it, but like you can see Mari's got a level of composure. It's such a shame we went off because we were handling them.
All of us were asking for Mari to start. You know what I mean?
And you could see that he could handle what City were doing. Like they were doing it. We expected that though. You could tell. I asked before the game, did you see in your group, Apollo? Tom said, what do you think is going to happen in the game today?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be interested to see how Arteta does tactically today, because this is the real test, because he knows City inside out. Do you know what I'm saying? And I have to say, based on before the individual errors, Arteta got it spot on. He's proven that tactically this guy knows what he's doing, because he had the right tactics against them. We were breaking through in the first couple of instances, and he handled them defensively. And then as soon as this guy with a big hair come on, went to pot, mate.
Yeah, I mean, and again, he shouldn't have been on there. He wasn't fit enough to play, and he had to get shoehorned in. There's a lot of intangibles. We can't, just he's shit. He's lost.
You can't do that.
So far deeper than that. But I just really want to say, I know one of the guys are saying talking about Tierney. I thought Kieran Tierney was really, really stout today. I thought he had a really decent game. And we kind of saw in the Charlton game the way he looked, the way he covered. Really liked what he was doing on the left-hand side. But I just don't think there's a team in the league that gets less love from the referees than we do. The match is over now. Match is done. So let me just turn my phone off.
I think Tierney got caught out of place though on when Mahrez got through. I think it was Tierney that was wildly out of place when Mahrez got through, and David Luiz got drawn in, and Mahrez was through. So he has been good though. He's been all right this game, but we need to see more from him going forward. I feel the whole team was on a backwards, sideways thing today, man. We weren't on a looking forward thing. I feel like we're missing Ozil. When Xhaka went off, I know he's an ever-prone guy, but he does know how to spray a nice pass forward, and I feel like we missed it when he went off because we didn't have anyone who can play like a magical pass today. We didn't have not one player on the pitch could play that sort of pass today.
I mean, the funny thing is, even Dani Ceballos, they said that he was only 80% fit. So you've just got a lot of guys running around on the pitch. A lot of them weren't fit. And then you go down to 10 men. And when we were at 10 men, City's the worst team to play when you're one man down because they just sliced us. I mean, it was embarrassing. As I said before, we had 2 breaks and Guendouzi looked up and there wasn't a single player running on the break. It was just, we were gassed. And honestly, it could have been 4-5, 6-0. It could have been a lot more than that. But for me, look, here's the state of the team right now. Our best player, Aubameyang, is out the door. There's no doubt about it. Today, in the second half, he was a non-factor. He hardly touched the ball. Didn't look interested.
He looked vexed, man. He looked vexed, especially after Luiz did that. He looked.
We never had one shot on goal. Our highest paid player wasn't even in the squad. Yeah. Where does that leave? Pepe again. Although I did tell you lot on the podcast on Sunday that Pepe wouldn't start. Yeah, because a lot of people, when we talk about tactics and analytics, I explained it to everybody, but it just went through deaf ears. You cannot play an attacking right player against a player like Sterling on that side because you're exposing the right back for torture, and I knew he wasn't going to play. It was a master stroke actually to put Pepe and Saka in there because I thought Reece Nelson was going to slot in there.
Mendy would have had up that side as well, man. Mendy would have had up that side. He had up Saka a couple of times as well, man.
Yeah. But it's just the quality of that play. You're talking about a team who's won championships. They've won league titles, and these kids we're talking about are 18 years old. These kids are 18 years old. Nice one to everybody who's just joining us for the after game chat, and we're just going through recovering really off the game. African Guna, our most creative midfielder, Xhaka, which everybody keeps saying he's our most creative midfielder, has got 4 assists in the last 2 years, and he went off in 5 minutes. Yeah.
I think. I mean, I was happy to see him go off. Obviously, it's not to see him get injured, but I think once he went off, our midfield was way too young. I think first of all, we're making excuses, and I think it's pretty lame. I mean, Man City were just way better than us. I mean, the squad depth, it shouldn't matter whether we had injuries or not. It just shows the cracks in our team. We just don't have the skill. For me, the fact that and I'm not saying you specifically, Apollo, but just Arsenal fans in general are ready to put up with David Luiz for 1 more year. That's bad mentality for me because I don't think that he's good enough for Arsenal. And it's not just specifically this game for me. I think in general, regardless of if he made errors or not, I just think that he's at the tail end of his career, and we should be looking for better players. We shouldn't settle for mediocrity, right? So that's my point.
William Saliba's going to be here, so we wouldn't really need to worry about it.
Yeah, but William Saliba is young. He's not, accustomed to the Premier League. Then we're going to have to give him betting in time. So we're always behind the curve. Like, I'm excited for him. I think he's going to be a great player. But, I mean, there's no guarantee that he's going to start off flying, right? So, again, I mean, defensively, shambolic. Just, we always give away free goals. As Don said, like that first one with David Luiz, I mean, touching, we could say it's rust. He should have just cleared it. But then, the second one when he pulls down a player, totally. I also didn't think that it was a red card. But then again, it's in the box. it's a dangerous play, it's preventing a goal. So he's kind of giving the referee no choice but to give him a red card. So that was really disappointing. And once we are down to 10 men, as you said, Apollo, it's not only against Man City, against any top class team that Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona, you don't want to go down to 10 men because they're just going to play you off the park because they're so good with the ball. So that's what happened tonight. And to be honest, at 2-0, I was thinking to myself, you know what, I'll just take the score. I'm glad it didn't get past 3-0 because it could have gotten really embarrassing if they wanted to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, look, I liked what I saw in the first 38 minutes, especially when Xhaka went off. We were actually able to beat the traps and all the slip passes that Man City was playing in the final third. Saka, Guendouzi, and Ceballos was snuffing them out. It looked great, and because Xhaka's got no pace and he's got no quickness, he normally gets spun really easily. It was nice to see us, but we couldn't keep up the intensity. Man City, if I'm fair, Man City were in third gear from the first half, and we were in about fourth gear. Our tempo was really high. We had them young kids in there; they were running their socks off. And they just got gassed, man. The game was leaving us by. Tactically, City just got stronger and stronger. And even in the forums when I was down, Michelle, Mark, Nabil, all them guys were saying a goal is coming because you could just smell a goal was coming, and it was.
You could feel the pressure really, right? And around the 37, 38 minute, you could feel the game is changing. You could feel us kind of sitting back. One thing I wanted to mention is, when we had the wind in our sail, I think Guendouzi was too long on the ball. He just takes too long. Head up and release. How many times did Aubameyang, get frustrated because he made the runs and we were just not releasing the trigger, right?
Yeah. Because I said that in the forum as well. There was one time Ceballos had the ball and Aubameyang was making a run and he made the run. Ceballos was just like, nah.
I see that.
Ceballos thought, look, he's made a run. Let me play him the ball. By that time, the defender had it covered.
Now, I have a quick question for you guys. How many shots on target did we have? Did Ederson even make a save, dude?
No.
Man, we waited 100 days to see no shots on goal. Man, that's frustrating.
It is.
We didn't have anyone to unlock them. We had no one on that could unlock them. We just kept playing backwards. Can I just say one thing that I noticed in the game that as well that I thought was really interesting is, we've got these kids on like Willock. I call them kids, they're men, but young men. Yeah, you got Willock, you got Guendouzi, you got Eddie. Yeah, all of those have great attributes like in certain areas, but you can see that they're not finished. Eddie doesn't have the killer instinct that he's required. Eddie had 2 chances early on that he should have finished his dinner, bruv. Like one of them, especially where I can't remember who crossed it in for him. Like, and he just sort of skied it off to the right-hand side of the goal.
It was Saka. It was Saka. It was Saka that put the ball in. It was actually a great ball.
If any other striker had that ball, goal, bruv. You know what I'm saying?
But I did write about that in the game chat when I did the, I said, wide right. But I did say that the defender had him covered. Defender got the inside angle. So really,
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Nketiah had a touch with his right foot to get on it, but the defender was.
But with someone like Lacazette he wouldn't have been in that position because he didn't have the speed. Eddie Nketiah's run. His run was beautiful. This is what I mean by incomplete because the run was perfect. You couldn't have done it better. He was jogging and then he timed it perfectly. He stayed on side, everything, But then the finishing, I would have preferred Lacazette on the end of that one. You get me? And then same thing with Willock, You can see that he's got certain attributes that are amazing, But then he just can't. I think his final ball is quite poor. Joe Willock, man. He's like a Iwobi. He's like another Iwobi.
You guys have heard what I said about Willock every week, and I didn't choose him to play in this game, but I did say that there's going to be a shock selection, and I thought the shock selection was going to be Reece Nelson because I thought Nelson should have started in Pepe's position in this game, and they put Willock in there, and Willock was completely oblivious today. I mean, people talk about not getting anything from Ozil, and Ozil really helps out Pepe a lot. What's going on, Kez? Emrian said, let's get some fan comments from you guys. Let's get some feeling here from what you guys thought about the game. Emrian says creativity and progressive passing from the centre midfield has been a big problem for a long time, and that's why I said to La African Guna, people talk about Xhaka is a great passer, and he's had what, 4 assists in the last 2 seasons.
He's not an assister. I give you that, but with Xhaka, he can every now and again he plays a good pass that keeps the game moving. Like it's not always about the final ball. Yeah, he don't do that, but like he can play better than anyone that was on the pitch today, man. He can play a long ball over to the wing, can spray it and cut the pitch in half. Do you see what I mean? We had no one even to do that today.
And the thing is, he's averaging more giveaways than anyone in the team by double. He's averaging about 5.9, and he loses the ball 5.9 times a game, which actually is first in the Premier League. And you can't, and I've said this before, you can't be a successful team if you're constantly giving the ball away. And I thought today, especially in tight spaces, I thought we did better when he was off the pitch and we didn't have him. We did look much better in tight spaces. But I think the thing is for me is you've got to be able to hold onto the ball as a defense, playing that from the back. And so that as in the midfield, so your defense doesn't come under constant pressure. And what's happening is we're not able to move the ball from the midfield to the strikers. So if we lose possession, the defenders are back on. I mean, even the goal, the first goal where Luis made the mistake, that was a ball that was rebounded because we lost possession. If we don't have them players who can't hold onto the ball, like Cazorla, and Fabregas and all these guys, then this is what's going to happen. You've got to hold on to the ball. James is saying, I saw a lot of good things, but City's quality was too much, especially with the injuries. Yeah, they just blew us up after 10 men, man. Liam, disappointing for every player. I wouldn't say every player. I definitely think that, the players, and it's hard because they weren't fit. A lot of them was just gassed. And, we can pick names and say you were walking and you wasn't running and you were tired and you lost, but they just were gassed, man. I mean, Kieran Tierney I thought did well today. Guendouzi was, apart from keeping on to the ball, he looked okay. Interesting to see Saka on the right, but it wasn't his best game. But I did like the fact that he came back and gave Bellerin support. Again, yeah. Bellerin did not want to come past the halfway line. He, when he had the groin injury, and he wasn't supporting Pepe, he did the same thing. It was almost like he saw the halfway line and just thought, that's the edge of the cliff. I'm not going past that.
I feel like he was told to do that by Apollo, man. Because I think he was one of our best defenders today, man. Like, he didn't really make no mistakes. Like, if you think about it, what did he do wrong today? He didn't. Yeah. I feel like Arteta told him, you're staying there because you got Sterling down there, bro, and you got Mendy, 2 of the most dangerous players. Like, so you need to just make sure that you're there helping the defense out. I feel like that was a tactic and
it kind of hurts the formation because when you have the ball, you're supposed to turn into a 3-2-5, and if your fifth member's not going up and supporting, then you lack those numbers, and then if you get caught, then you're against it, aren't you? You're on the back foot, and that didn't happen too much today. I didn't think City. I thought we were well positioned, especially the centre backs. I didn't think we got caught out at any one time where it was like, whoa, they're outnumbering us on the counter attack. I thought the shape was really well. Look, I just think that we got tired today. I thought that we gassed out, and the mistakes from Luis is the reason why killed us. Cricket Ball, good to see you, mate. It's a really shame that we've had to sit down there and talk about the result. We were playing well up until the injuries. What can I say, man? And even Liam saying we look good in the first 15 minutes.
I would say first 30 minutes we look good, even more than that. I mean, you're right, Apollo. The shape is probably one of the best shapes we've seen playing against a big team in a long, long time, which is really encouraging. Because against the smaller teams, we'll eat them. And that's the only kind of positive that I'll see. In terms of the previous comment about disappointing from every player, to be honest, I don't
totally agree. I think Leno was my man of the match. He had an amazing performance for, you know, a keeper that hasn't played in 2-3 months. Some of the saves that he made, he really kept us in the game. The goal from Sterling, I mean, there was nothing he can do. You couldn't save that, right? He just blasted it in. The penalty, I mean, what was he supposed to do? And then the third goal off the post and free goal, right? So Leno for me had a good match. And in terms of Saka, I think people are a bit harsh on him. I think he did a really good job. I was happy with him, to be honest. I think that he was doing his defensive work and he was trying to attack as much as possible. Don't forget he's left-footed, so he was playing on the right, which is a bit awkward for him considering that he's left-footed. But I think he did his job. And in regards to what Dan was saying about Bellerin, I think that's also probably one of the best games I've seen Bellerin play in a while. I mean, his haircut, I mean, I'm super glad he got it because he finally looks like a proper professional player, right? I mean, he looks serious and he looked like he was ready for the job just by his appearance. So some positives, but at the end of the day, we all knew that this was a free game for us. You know, I mean, we couldn't fool ourselves. We knew that City was you know, their B team is basically better than our A team.
Yeah. Our season starts now, really, doesn't it? Our season starts now. But I'm glad that you guys actually can see what I was saying, because on Sunday, when I said to you, you cannot play Pepe down that right-hand side, it wasn't very clear to you guys what I was actually talking about. And seeing the game and seeing how someone can get back and help Bellerin defensively, we just, and that probably hurt the offensive output, the fact that we didn't have a shot on goal. But you know, what can you do? You're not a well-oiled machine that's won 2 titles under Pep Guardiola. You're not. You're a team which you're trying to teach tactics and a philosophy to a team that half of them can't do it, and the other half are young, and you're grooming, and you're not the finished article. And unfortunately, what we saw today was just a plethora of different things that we're not ready for them. A lot of the guys in the chat as well have said we're not ready for them. And Emery says, out of the 4 teams that played tonight, why is only 2 of our players that got injured? And again, mate, that's going to come down to preparation. If you saw my YouTube video yesterday, preparation was the last. I said my top 5 reasons for Arsenal to win. What was my 5th reason? It was preparation. What was my 4th reason? Aubameyang. And all those are the things that we didn't do. Yeah, Aubameyang, where was he? I said in my video yesterday, I said big players turn up in big teams and perform massively. Yeah, and look what Aubameyang done tonight.
I mean, it's not really his fault. What can he do? And also,
I think when you're the captain, you've got to lead by example. You've got to run harder than everybody, all of your players. You got to, if your players are walking, you've got to be running blood and scream. You got to almost drive yourself into a wall to get a performance out of your team. We didn't see that. That's why I mentioned him on my video yesterday.
Yeah, so for me, I think that I actually don't agree. I think he did a lot of running, to be honest. If you watch, he was coming back a lot. And for a striker that, you know, likes to run in behind, he tires himself out with the defensive work that he has to do against big teams. And then eventually, especially if it's not going our way, he gets frustrated and he kind of, he gives up. Like in the second half, we didn't see him. But I think it's not the first.
Did he even touch the ball in the second half?
Yeah, but in the first half he only had 13 touches, so it's not much of a difference. And I don't think that it's his fault because he didn't have the players or the support. And I'm saying that it's not the first time that we've seen this from Aubameyang. Usually against better teams than us, we see that he gets isolated and he doesn't get the ball. So it happens quite often. So I'm not too surprised and I'm not too disappointed. I feel like he tried, but it's not a one-man team, right? He can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, but as I said, when you're the captain, you're looking for your. You know, everyone talks about Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, everyone says Kevin De Bruyne, and then when he plays us, he has outstanding, stunning games. Where's the outstanding, stunning game from our captain? Yeah, from our big-time player, from our leader. You didn't see it.
And but he's not a captain though, bro. Like he's captain by default because we don't have anyone better. Like that's why he's captain. Yeah, he shouldn't be captain. And another thing, he shouldn't be playing down the left hand side when City's quickest player is there as well today.
Yeah, I think that's debatable because he scored all of 20 goals from there, hasn't he?
Nah, I get that, bro. But if you think about City specifically, yeah, their quickest player is actually Carl Walker. You wouldn't realize it, but when you see my man splurting, he's quicker than Raheem Sterling, bro. Like, he's their quickest player, his most powerful, quickest player. You want Aubameyang away from that and through the middle, I feel, in this game here. And then you could have put Saka on the left on his natural position, and then you could have put someone else on the right. You get me? I just feel like I'm not criticizing Arteta's tactics because he obviously knows what he's doing, but I don't feel Aubameyang through the on the left hand side where he's going to get isolated against City as well, yeah. And then no one was playing that ball. You lot mentioned earlier Ceballos and that. There was a time where Kieran Tierney was through on the left hand side. Aubameyang was on the shoulder of the last defender. Kieran Tierney never played the ball, played it inside to Ceballos, yeah, and Aubameyang went mental, bro. I've never seen him do it in my life. Like, he went absolutely spare. Watch the game back, you'll see it, yeah. There's a perfect opportunity just to play a simple, straight ball, you know, bro. That's why he didn't get any opportunities tonight, because every time that ball was open, we're too shook, so we're turning backwards and passing inside. That is literally, it looked like a Wenger game at times tonight, you know, like the end of Wenger's era, because Guendouzi, that's what he was doing every time. He gets the ball, and sometimes he dribbles past the player, and then you think, shit, what am I going to do? And then turns back and plays it back to the defense. It's like, come on, bro, just play the ball forwards. And that was why Aubameyang never got the ball today, because no one was playing it forward. Everyone was just playing it back.
And that's what I'm saying. The problem was in the midfield. I mean, that, you know, when it's really, really hard to watch this, because I've been so critical of Joe Willock. And you guys have followed my channel long enough to know that I'm not anybody who rants and slags off the players. You know, I love my club. I kiss my badge. I back my boys, and I'll back my boys until you know I'm dead in the. You know, I'll back my boys to the coffin, and I really want this guy to succeed at Arsenal. And today, it just was. I mean, you look at Mesut Ozil, somebody who holds the ball well, can pick out a pass, and then what was Willock doing today? And that was the missing formula from the midfield to the strikers not getting anything. Your job in the hole is to make that happen. That's we understand. Ceballos normally plays up there with Ozil, but Ceballos had to drop back because Xhaka wasn't there. So Ceballos had to play a really deep game today, and the onus was on Willock to pick up the ball in space. Yeah, Ozil finds so many space because of his movement. Willock just couldn't get open. He couldn't receive the ball and then turn and then play guys in on the flanks.
And when he did try, the pass was pitiful, bro. Like, I see him loads of times playing the ball short and stuff like that. Like, what I think is Willock is not in the whole player. Like, when you look at this guy play, he's good at like aggressively attacking. When someone else has got the ball, he's good at aggressively closing down, maybe nipping in front. He did it a couple of times tonight, nipping in front and nicking the ball off them. He's more of a centre mid to me. Ceballos is more of a whole player. I think if we just swapped them two around today, we would have been a lot better, you know, because Ceballos is more of a forward-thinking guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think you're right, because if Willock is good at getting stuck in and covering, and I think that you should have probably put him a holder, but that's just not where he's played. You know, he's an offensive type of player. I just want to go to Bertram before I do. Welcome, Nay. Welcome back, man. I've been missing you on the show, and she's saying Leno was definitely our man of the match. Yes, I totally agree. Thank God for him tonight. Otherwise, it would have been 6 or 7. Bertram, what's your thoughts on tonight?
The golfing pass. I mean, I know.
Hold on,
They're so much better.
Your mic's spitting at the moment.
You guys hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think your connection is just a bit laggy.
Mic's not working. That's not good. Can you get off?
Yeah, your connection is just a little bit laggy, so your mic is bitting out at the moment.
I'll come on and come back in.
It sounds a little. Yeah, come out and come back in and see how it works. Yeah, so guys, yeah, I have to agree with Nay. Big shout out, Nay. I think Leno was easily the man of the match. It just would have looked like a complete horror show. And look, his distribution today was awful. It was as bad as I've seen.
Awful. It's always
awful. My God. I mean, half of the problem, City were pressing us to try and not make us play the ball out the back. But they did it more when they realized that Leno was off his game today. After 20 minutes, that's when they started coming at us. And then after 38 minutes, they just flooded our box. And that's when Pep Guardiola said, look, I don't care. Arsenal ain't scoring against us today. Let's go and get them. That's what Pep said. Pep just said, pepper them.
So, but the center backs don't help either, because they just kept, I mean, even Tierney just kept passing it back to each other, and they were just playing this game that we were playing under Emery. Like they were doing the exact same thing under Emery, and we kept getting caught, and then we'd score on the counter, and that's kind of what reminded me of tonight. We just kept playing it back, and then Leno would either kick it long and we'd turn over possession, or he'd just kick it out of bounds. Yeah. And so it just kept coming back at us, and we never learned. It's because we don't have the players to open it up. I mean, you said it in the first 15, 20 minutes, Ceballos, Guendouzi, they broke through the press, but I think after a while, City just pinned us back in, and then we couldn't do anything. We couldn't get out.
Yeah, and Kez is saying Leno was killing us with the back part. Yeah, it was destroying us. And when a manager sees that on the sideline, Kez, he has all the right in the world to tell his team flood their penalty area because when that happened, Leno had nowhere to go, and the ball was getting kicked into the midfield, and City was picking up the ball because we don't have a Giroud type, or in fairness to Lacazette, that's part of his strength is holding up the play, and we didn't have that player that could hold us. So every time we kicked the ball long, it was coming straight back to City. Good to see you, Beats. Nice one there. Yeah, you know what? I wanted to be entertained. Everybody went for 3-1, 3-0. You know, Kevin Campbell sent a tweet out today that said 3-0 as 3-1 as well. And I said to Kevin, a lot of people are saying that because, you know, that is the smart choice to do. But we can't. This is a game, if everything went well, that we could win. I really thought that I went for a 2-2 draw. Didn't really think we could win today. It's just too early for us to play a team like that. But how's your mic now? You look much better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a bit quiet, but I can hear you.
They're supposed to be good headsets. I apologize. Maybe I have to go change them again.
Yeah, but the internet connection's a lot better, but you're just a bit quiet. You probably need to come closer.
No, it's not coming closer. I may just have to drop off because I'm not sure why this is not working. I was doing wireless before, and now I'm doing wired.
Yeah.
So I'm still not sure why this is not connected.
Excellent. So what was your thoughts? Yeah, that's much better.
Can you hear myself? Yeah, so look, my thoughts are, I'm not sure why we're getting all perturbed about the result. Did we really expect to win? I mean, look.
Oh, you've gone quiet on us again. You've gone quiet on us.
This is not working at all, is it?
Yeah, I can hear you, but when you touched something, it went loud, and then it just went quiet again.
I'm about to go back out again. I apologize.
No, that's all right, mate. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It's a shame because he has really great insight. Guys, I think where does that leave us now? I think we've got 6 games in 18 days. So when you get injuries, it's not like a normal thing where you got international break, you got 2 weeks to recover, or you got a game in 7 days. You're in 7 days, 3 games would have gone. Like if you've got an injury now, you're going to miss a lot of games. You're going to miss 3 or 4 games. Emery is saying, but our forward players aren't really an outlet for Leno, as they generally, they don't win long balls, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I didn't think Lacazette was going to start today. I really didn't. I thought that you had to play because he doesn't defend well, and Eddie Nketiah does. You had to put players on there that was going to run for you and pressure the ball and help to win back. And I thought we did really well in the first, 38 minutes. Positive that we can take out of this is that we're still 5 points. Yeah, I mean that's it's not a lot of positives.
Yeah, we still have a lot of tough games. I think United have much easier games going forward than we do. As we said last week or on Sunday, I mean we still have Leicester, we still have Tottenham, we still have Liverpool, we still have Wolves. I mean, yeah, it's it's gonna be very tough to get points. And one thing in regards to Nketiah, one thing I noticed today from him is that he looked much stronger on the field. I mean, he knocked over Mendy a couple of times, which was really impressive. I think he's been, lifting over the last 2 months, which is good to see. But I think, again, overall, what really output did he give to us? Apart from pressing, he was pressing, doing the running, which he always does. But as Dan said, I mean, just doesn't have the end product for us. I mean, he had 2 chances, and the thing is, against City, you're only gonna have 1 or 2 chances, and when you get them, you got to take them. And unfortunately, we couldn't.
I mean,
so am I any better? Am I any better?
Yeah,
these are new headsets, so these are not headsets. I have too many of them.
yeah,
Let's see if this one works.
exactly.
Okay, all right. So look, I am not disappointed about tonight. I mean, I'm disappointed about David Luiz because again he disappoints us. But let's be honest, there was a golfing class tonight. There is no. This reminds me of us playing a Liverpool side. We're just not at that level. I'm hearing a lot of knock on Willock. Look, I mean, throughout the game I was raving about Saka, frankly, not Willock. That Saka was non-existent tonight. I thought in the first half we had a couple chances, a couple of long balls to him, because we were trying to play an interesting game, which is what we did against Liverpool last year, which is they can keep the ball, we'll play it long. But the rain is falling, the field is wet, so it's very difficult to play long balls in a wet field, at least at the exception of the game. I think we should probably try to go a little bit shorter. And they keep the ball much better than us. If you notice, when we have the ball, we barely pass our first third. And they walk the ball up the field pretty easily. We struggle to get up our first third. Between Leno and the first half of the field, we struggle to get past that. Because they press very smartly. They don't just press willy-nilly. They press as a team, and they know when to press really hard, and they know when to back off. And they cut the field off. They play half the field. They're very aggressive because they're comfortable in their ability when they get the ball not to lose it. So they can plan the half line even further up than the half line. And so they box you in.
But Bertram, they've been running that system for 4 or 5 years. We've been running it for 4 or 5 months.
No. There's a difference. They have players who can play this. They have quality players who can play the system. We don't have the same level of quality players. So they play very wide. Sterling is on the touchline. So is Mahrez. So they space out the field, give themselves enough room to play the ball to the channel. We don't have that capability. I'm not cursing Willock. I think Willock has a lot of potential. Willock's weight of pass needs to be better. He's making the right pass, but the weight on the pass needs to be better. David Silva, for example, or De Bruyne, the weight of the pass is exact. The ball rolls onto you. You don't have to cut your stride. You just go forward. Willock doesn't have that. Willock played well defensively. The problem for us is when we lost David Luiz, and people keep saying Willock wasn't playing. He wasn't a 10. We're playing 4-3-3 straight in the beginning of the game. He only went to the 10 in the second half of the game. I basically went to the 10. I think after Luiz came on, he went to 10 for a little while. He wasn't a 10 all game. So when people keep cursing Willock, it wasn't Willock's fault. We just, as a team, struggled. And I'm not cursing Aubameyang. Aubameyang is a goal scorer. He has the rest of his game is poor. He doesn't pass well. He doesn't move as well as he probably should when he's on the wing. When he's up front, is a different story. He doesn't play defense. A couple of times in the game, or watching the game, if you notice in the second half when Sterling had the free kick, they used Rodrigo to block. I think it was Maitland-Niles, right? And create a space on the other side. That's creative thinking. That's being strategic. That's being deductive in terms of how you play football. We don't have that in our game.
Yeah,
so our team,
it's too early for us.
Our team is young, and I'm not overly upset. I thought Saka could have played better. He did when he played back in defense. He's not the finished product. I know we talk about him like he's the next coming of Messi or the next coming of Mbappe. He's not. He's a good player who needs to continue to improve. And I thought he was a little bit lost tonight, just like he was when he played Liverpool last year, or probably earlier in the season. When he played, he was a little bit lost. But the team has potential, and we'll do well against the team that are not as good as City, but City make you look poorly. They made us look poor. They play the ball between the channels. It reminds me when you play, when you go to practice and you're playing backs and forward, so the defense against the offense. That's how the game became about 25 minutes into the first half.
So Dan, let me get your thoughts first of all. What did you think of the whole no fans in the stadium and the atmosphere of the players, and what did you think of it? What did you make of it all?
It's a bit weird, isn't it? But like, I watched it with crowd noise being played, and it was just lame. Because like when there's meant to be an attack or something, and the noise goes, like none of that, mate. It's just.
I thought that was good.
It's like now you're attacked dead, like every time, because it's just bare the same. But
I mean, in the second half,
City dealt with it way better than we did, bro.
In the second half, they even played the Arsenal the Arsenal chance. You know, they even played the chance from Arsenal in the second half. So I thought that was good.
But I just felt like we didn't deal with it well. The lack of atmosphere, where City really, they just played their normal game, didn't they? They just played how they always play, you know what I mean? They actually stepped it up in periods of the game. It's almost like that you can see it's been drilled into them. You see what Burton was saying about how City are just better than us. If you look at all of their players, I think it's more to do with coaching, you know, bruv. Like, I agree with you, Apollo. I think we haven't been doing it for long enough. Like, if you look at the way they're drilled, they are so well drilled, man. When one man goes here, another man comes in behind them, all that stuff. We don't have that yet. We're getting there.
But the thing is, how do you think City got like that? If you watch the pre-game, Pep Guardiola said, when he was asked about Mikel Arteta,
he said he's got an advantage.
He said he's got an advantage, and he said, Guardiola said, I learned a lot of things from Arteta. When I heard that, I went straight to Twitter, because you would expect Arteta to say, I learned a lot of things from Guardiola. Yeah, but what you heard was Guardiola said, I learned a lot of things from Arteta.
Nah, but Apollo, he's gassing up his mate. That's what he's doing. He's gassing up his budget. Listen. Pep learnt that from who's that Dutch guy that was at Barca before him? Rijkaard. Pep learnt it from Rijkaard, because Rijkaard was drilling that into Barca before Pep came. Pep took it over and took it to another level. Ask Fabregas, Pep has always been a tactical guy. You get me? And ask Thierry Henry when he went to Barca. Have you ever heard him talk about when he went to Barca? He was like, Pep opened my mind tactically. This guy's come from Wenger, playing Wenger ball, and he's saying Pep's opened his mind tactically because he told him, you can't do this, you have to go there, you have to sacrifice yourself, all these different things. And Pep's just gassing up his best mate, innit? Like, he's gassing up his mate and telling him, yeah, I learned everything from you, you've got the advantage, all that stuff. It's like, oh, thanks, mate. And then you go out there and get slapped up, bro. That's what Pep knows. Pep don't need Arteta. I think Arteta was good for players like Sterling, who was good with the man management style in City, and he helped a lot of players step up.
Like I said, the Amazon Prime shows it all. De Bruyne, Mendy, Sterling, all of them said that the reason why I'm playing at this level is because of Mikel Arteta. And that's the reason why when Arsenal fans, I talk to them and they say Arteta's shit, it was wrong to get him in. I'm like, are you guys, I always tell people, look, just reference the Amazon Prime show for Man City, and you'd be surprised at what influence Arteta.
You know, with sorry, one more thing. You know, with the regards to the tactical and the coaching and stuff. Yeah, if you look at like how I was saying, I think Pep didn't learn it from Arteta, but I feel like just on my final point on it, that Arteta proved tonight that he does have tactical nous. Because remember how we were talking about the first 38 minutes of the game before we started going sloppy? Arteta proved that he knows tactically what to do against teams. So on that basis, I would just say Arteta's definitely not some tactical inept guy. Like, he knows what he's doing. So
and that's going to be my next question on the way around. And guys, remember, Wednesday night, we're only here for an hour. So, you know, we try and keep it nice and short. African Gooner, what did you think of the no fans experience today? And for those of you in the UK who wasn't aware, the Sky Sports main event channel had the noise implemented, and the Sky Sports channel 402 didn't. It was, so you had a choice. So if you was watching the wrong channel, you missed all the noise. And the noise, I thought, was simulated really well, but there were some parts where the guy in the PA forgot to do the when someone missed, and he delayed it too late. So the guy took the shot, missed, it was quiet, and then 2 seconds later you heard the fans go, It was just like, bro, keep up with the game, man. African Gooner, what did you think of the no fans experience?
Yeah, so firstly, I wanted to just quickly address the point that you guys are discussing about the Amazon Prime. You mentioned Mendy, Sterling, and all those players. Don't forget, all those players are £50 million plus players. So Bertram is right. I mean, you guys are both right. One, it's you need the quality of players, and two, you need to drill those players. So 100% Arteta's the man, but he needs the quality as well. It's not just coaching and drilling for me. I mean, it's a combination of both, and you need to find the right balance. And hopefully Arteta is able to do that this summer when he gets to choose the players that he wants. Now, in terms of the crowd fans, the crowd noise and stuff, I thought it was really cool, to be honest. I mean, they're trying their best to make it an immersive experience for fans who can't obviously come to the stadium. As you said, a lot of times it was delayed, which was kind of funny. But I think that it was pretty cool. I mean, even when I was hearing the Arsenal chants, I had to like take a second and like really listen. I'm like, am I really hearing Arsenal chants right now? And yeah, that was really cool. I didn't think that they would be doing that. I think it's good that the fans weren't there, because I think that obviously with the mistakes that David Luiz made, I think that if fans were in the stadium, we might have gotten onto the team, like while we're at the stadium, the team might have just, collapsed. So I think it might have been a benefit that, that there weren't any fans and it was kind of just playing like, like usual. As Dan said, I mean, Man City is just, whether it's training, whether it's the Champions League match, whatever it is, they're just so well drilled. It doesn't really matter to them. They play the same all the time. They're consistent, and that's why they're one of the best teams in the world. And hopefully, I read something about Arteta having a meeting with the players and telling them that it's, we shouldn't be a team that aspires to potentially win every game. We should be going into every game thinking that we're going to win. And that's the culture and mentality that we need. So, yeah.
Good insight. Bertram, what was your count of the non-fan experience and all those screens showing people on Zoom watching the games and all that stuff? I mean, what was your thoughts about that?
It was better than the Bundesliga.
Yeah, it was.
The atmosphere was even without people in the stands. It was a better atmosphere. The game felt like we were more into the game, and maybe because you have an affiliation with the team. Because I always had work and I wasn't watching the Villa game, but watching this game, I thought it was a better experience though, and it felt more like a game you were watching. Because when I watch a Bundesliga, it just looked like a practice game. But look, they're doing the best they can do to create as a real life environment as possible with the same ambiance and the same level of intensity. But it's hard to do, and I'm sure for the players it's a little bit different because they're used to having very robust, boisterous crowds who are at the games, and you can hear what the fans are saying, and here they want to hear themselves. So that must have been very, very difficult for them. But look, at the end of the day, we have to we're seeing football. The great thing about this is, problem for me is I won't get to watch a lot of the games, given the time they're coming on. But we're seeing football, and you have a pastime. The pastime is now here. We get a chance to watch it. We get a chance to enjoy it. Tonight wasn't as enjoyable as we'd like it to be because we lost. But I thought it was going to be a 3-1 game. It could have been 6, frankly. Because even though we may complain about David Luiz and his mistake, they had 2 early chances, which were sitters, basically.
Yeah.
Easy tapping goals, which they missed. And they realized early in the game that they're a better team. Yeah. When you're playing like that, you're a better team. You know you're going to beat this team. And our best player, and we keep talking about Aubameyang. He's a great goal scorer, but you gotta be a more complete player than that. I mean, you've been playing football for so long, you can't hold the ball up, you don't play defense, you can't pass the ball. Come on. And you want to get $350 a week. I'm not paying you $350 a week. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to take $200 a week, then you need to go.
Yeah, he was playing in the German league, right? I mean, so he didn't really have to be a complete player for most of his career. I think the Premier League is just so demanding that regardless of what position you play in the Premier League, you have to be a complete player. I think that's the difference. And
that's why the Spanish teams. Yeah. That's why the Spanish teams didn't come in for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan. So I think we'll rotate the squad now. We've got no choice. We have to rotate the squad and use this time towards the end of the season to test all the players and ask, get those questions asked as a manager and a coach that you need asking to move you into the summer. So where does Arteta go from here? So we know that Guardiola was able to be successful because he's had the time to do it and he's had the money to bring in the players to facilitate all of his philosophies. So there's a danger that Arsenal would turn around to Arteta and say, well, look, we haven't got any money. What does Arteta need in the offseason to get this team to the level that he needs to get it to?
He does need money, but we got we can spend up to 235 million and not break FFP. Apparently, that's what I've.
No, that's not true. That was a Twitter rumor, and it's not true. It's definitely not.
Well, he needs money, but he needs several things, man. He needs several players. But I heard that Edu's been speaking to him about possible players that they can go for. But he needs centre back. You know the problem with us here. We've got we spoke about this a little bit last week on Wednesday. We've got too many players that have got an error in them, man. Like, so if we look at today, another one of those typical players has done it again. Next time it'll be Mustafi, then it'll be Xhaka, then it'll be whoever. Like, it's always
in turns.
yeah, like we can't, and sometimes all in the same game, all three of them. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be dealing with that. So what I'm trying to say is we need to replace those guys first and foremost. Let's just forget about all these extra spectacular, luxurious players and that. Let's just get rid of the guys that make costly errors on a repeated basis. I like Mustafi. I think he's been good. I've been rating him for a little while since Arteta's come in. I think he's been a lot better than a lot of people are giving him credit for. But at the same time, he's always got that error in him. Same with Xhaka. Xhaka's been better, but he's still got that error in him. David Luiz, he's been brilliant since Arteta's come, but he's got that error in him. We can't afford these players. So them three, for me, replace. Other than that, then we can start thinking about it, because Arteta can work with everything else. He's got young players that he can build. Like, we're talking about drilling players. You can give these guys your philosophy. Do you know what I mean? They're sponges, so he can teach them. But that's it. Replace those three. Xhaka, Mustafi, and what's his name? Luiz. Replace them. That's what you need to do.
And guys, I know most of you in the chat, you know your football and you understand how the football works. But when that 235 million rumor came out, it was silly, because that's our surplus cash. That's our floating cash. Every business has floating cash, which takes care of debt, stadium debt and things like that. It's not transfer money. It never was, never has been, and no business would take their surplus cash and throw it into a transfer market and leave yourself exposed. Because guess what? If a recession comes or depression comes, and then you do lose 144 million next year, then your company, your team's going to go down. You're going to go into liquidation. So there's having a good business model works, because if you have your sponsorship, like Arsenal knows where the transfer money is. It's in the sponsorship deals, with the kit deal, the stadium deals, and things like the Indesit in Rwanda. That's it. Nothing else is accounted for transfers.
Can I just quickly, I heard that it wasn't 235 million to spend. Because we've got that in surplus, we can spend a certain amount of money. We don't have this money, but because we've got a surplus of cash, we can spend a certain amount of money without breaking FFP. So if Stan gives enough money this summer, if Stan allows enough funds to be spent, then we can spend up to 235 million. It doesn't mean we've got it. So that's what I was reading. It might be bullshit, but that's what I was reading. Yeah, because we've got that surplus, we can spend that much, but we haven't got it, basically.
I mean, in hindsight, you know, the club is run as a business, and every good business understands how you allocate money. And allocation of money is very important, because you're managing the money coming in, managing the money coming out. That's what makes a healthy business. The kit deal and the stadium rights and all these other things which make up our transfer budget means that we'll always have money to spend in the transfer market. The danger this year is that the business as a whole will have made and accumulate so many losses. The question is, will Stan take out of his pocket and bump the losses up himself, or will he take the transfer money and use that to pay for the losses? That's the key question. And when I go to the next Arsenal Supporters Trust meeting, that is going to be the first question that is posed, because we've always been told and understood where the transfer money comes from. So that for me is the real concern. In my opinion, we will have money in transfer market because of that. However, our losses are going to be around 67 million. 27 million lost last year. It's probably going to be 3 times that amount because of where we are at the moment in the business. African Guna, I talked to you about the experience, and I asked Dan about what we need to be successful in the summer. What do we need? Well, what needs to happen? Is that what needs to happen? That we need to hold truth to the transfer kitty and not have any interference. And if we do lose money, force the owner really from the board to put in and cater with the losses. Is that the best way forward?
Yeah, I think Dan is spot on. I mean, we need to get rid of these clowns. I mean, we laugh about it, but I think the only reason we laugh about it is because all the tears have dried up, because we're just, I mean, it's just expected. I mean, and this is not only this season, last season. This is for 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, Squiacci. I mean, the amount of average players that we've had over the years and the scraping that we've done in the transfer window, it's all accumulated, and it's been accumulating every season after season, which is why fans have rioted, why Arsenal Fan TV became so popular. This is all accumulating, and I think that, you know, fans are starting to realize that if you want to be a good team, you can't have average players. So one, we need to get rid of Xhaka, Mustafi, David Luiz. I don't know who will want to buy them, and I don't know how much money we can actually recover from those, but I think at this point it doesn't really matter. Take the losses and just get the deadwood out of the squad. I think the second thing for me is we need to stop relying on young players. I know that we all, you know, as we said many times, these guys are talented. Willock, Nketiah, I mean, Saka, Martinelli. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be competing for the Premier League, these players need to be your squad players. They can't be your first team. And that's, you know, if you look at any of the top teams in the world, I'm talking about, again, Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus. How many of their starting 11 are youth academy players? Very, very seldomly you'll find.
I agree, but isn't it best to blood them in? Because the other guys
blood them in the FA Cup and the Europa League, but not in the Premier League. The Premier League is where all the money is at. We know we're not going to win the Champions League. We know, you know, very unlikely we're going to win the Europa League. So play them in those cups. I don't mind, because I know I'm not expecting much from those. But when it comes to the Premier League, where all the bread and butter is, that's where most of the money and revenue is coming from. Play your strongest team. This is something that with Wenger, I used to get upset all the time. He would never play our strongest team. He'd always be fiddling around with the team. Just play
I think Arteta said he will do that, and he has done that in the last 2 rounds of the FA Cup. He has played a strong team.
The third thing for me is, as we said on previous podcasts, we need to fix our spine. We need to get Thomas Partey and Upamecano as soon as possible. I mean, we've already seen Chelsea sign Timo Werner. So, I mean, get these deals done. I mean, if, you know, God forbid, if we start, you know, sinking down the table, you know, these agreed personal terms and stuff, that's out of the window. Why would, you know, these contract negotiations are done and dusted if we start sinking. We might as well get these deals across the line now, if possible, before we see the end result at the end of the season.
What's funny is Pablo Mari, who hasn't signed a long-term deal yet, could actually say goodbye to Arsenal in 13 days' time when his contract runs out. That's the type of urgency we're dealing with right now. Yeah, to get these deals done. Bertram, what does this team need to do in the summer to get itself on the right track?
Gotta blow it up. We're not good enough. Don't people realize this? We keep talking around in circles. And look, it's not my money. I'm not going to tell Stan Kroenke how to spend his money, right? We can all sit here and talk about what we need, how much money he should spend. But these are not peanuts. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. And even billionaires watch their pennies in millions. Right? So I'm not look, if you run a business like a business, then Stan is doing the right thing. Except this is a hobby, not a business. It's partial hobby, partial business. That's why you can afford to buy Newcastle for 300 million if you are Saudi Arabia and you use your sovereign wealth fund to fund it. But you can afford to buy Manchester City and you have all these resources. That's why they're in trouble now. You put those resources in. The only team that I think has a great model, I mean, Man U does well, but Man U have a lot of advertising dollars. They have a lot of sponsorship dollars that they can leverage, right? Liverpool has done really well. Liverpool struggled for a while, hadn't won the PL, got the best manager in football. We talk about Pep. Pep only manages superstars. Pep has never managed a team that's not superstars. Klopp is by far the best manager in football. He knows players. We can talk about coaching. He knows players. He had Sane. He revitalized Henderson. He had Salah, who failed at Chelsea, Sane from Southampton. Think about all these players he has brought in and how he's put. In fact, his best buys or his most expensive buys haven't necessarily materialized. Keita hasn't materialized, right?
But I went back and said the reason why I liked him is he beat a Bayern Munich team in its prime twice in for league championships. And
he didn't have Barcelona or Real Madrid money to do so.
No, he didn't.
Our team needs have a lot of holes. Now, I was impressed by Tierney today because I don't think he has done anything since he joined us. So maybe he's now fitter. He's now getting his mind acclimated to. He's not in the Scottish League anymore. He's in the big boy leagues. I thought Bellerin played well. I thought defensively, apart from Mr. Error Prone, I have a name for these players. So Lazy didn't come today. Error Prone joined us today, and Error Prone just made a mess of everything. I didn't think Mari was outstanding. Even though I think the defense played well, Mari, even though he pulled up, I think what's his name looked up in the air and went by him, and I'm like, Mari, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on, you're supposed to be trying to get a contract, not trying to go back to Brazil.
Yeah, so, against the team that he's been with for 3 years, he knows all of those players.
Look, I think he's good on the ball. I'm concerned about him when he doesn't have the ball. He's good on the ball. I'm concerned when he doesn't have the ball. I think David Luiz is a very good footballer who doesn't have a position. He's like, because he can't play defense. He's too slow to center midfield. Obviously, he can't play up front. He doesn't have a position, even though he's a very good footballer, which is really interesting. Because he's giving away more penalty than any other player in the PL, and he keeps making these errors, these bonehead errors. Go back to his 2014 World Cup against Germany. We played for Brazil. When he makes a mistake, he loses it. He just his mind goes. Yeah. And so, even though I think he's good in the locker room, he shouldn't play the more difficult games. Probably should be like Lazy. Play at home. Play where you have support, and don't put him with the Liverpools and the Man U and the Chelseas because he's going to struggle. But I do think that African Guna is right. So here's what people don't realize. Show me which team, apart from maybe old Barcelona or old Man U with the Beckhams of the world, that has bred all these academy players, brought them through, and they have delivered championship, Champion League. It doesn't happen. Yeah. Real Madrid, Barca, Bayern, Chelsea, Man U, Liverpool, Man City, they all got and buy players. Liverpool's the smartest buyer of all of them. Bayern can get any player in Germany they want. Real Madrid is now raiding Brazil for players. But we don't have a situation where you can breed academy players. Because think about it. These are the best players in the world. The world is a huge population. Even if you have a good academy, they're going to be better players out there just by numbers. Yeah, just by the size of the population, by numbers, going to be better players. So you can't necessarily say that my academy are going to bring them all through because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And even when you have good players, like City does with Sancho, they have to leave if they're smart. Just like Foden probably should have left, because their talent is going to be, they're going to be kept in this bottle for a while and have to wait for somebody to leave to demonstrate their capabilities when they're probably ready. Sancho has been ready since he's 17, 16, and decided to go to dormant because he says, look, the opportunity is not here. So for our team, I'm encouraged by Saka, but I think he has a lot of work to do. I'm encouraged by Willock, even though Willock gets a lot of stick, and people don't think he's good. I think Willock has a lot of potential. I'm not overly encouraged by Guendouzi because I don't see what position Guendouzi fits into, which is interesting. He played CM today. He's not a CM. He makes too many mistakes to be a CM. He dribbles too much. Willock is a good number 10 and can be a better 10 than Lazy, but he's still not the finished product.
Yeah.
So
they need coaching, man. They need coaching.
Well, I mean, Apollo, again, I'm going to say this. You can only coach but so much, you know. I mean, even if you're the best coach in the world, talent overcomes coaching a lot of times. Your capability to be the differentiator, think about it. LeBron James was good at 16, 17, on TV at 17, exceptional talent.
But that's rare. That's the top 1%.
No, but you're talking about the PL, though. You go in all over Africa and South America and the Caribbean and Europe to get the best players. They got to be exceptional. They got to be exceptional players. Most players in the PL are very, very good players and can dominate a championship or a League One, but the PL are the best players. Man City's team is what? How many is it? About $500 million for the team?
Oh no, 1.3.
The current squad.
Oh,
is it 1.3? The current squad is about half of.
Yeah.
Godongan, great player. Rodrigo, very good player. Mendy was excellent at Monaco. All these players are very, very good players. We don't have that. We buy up the scrappy. We pay 30-something million. And unlike a Sane that translates to 100 million or Salah translates to 100 million, ours translate to 10 million.
Yeah,
we regress.
We don't have that, and we're not gonna have that because we can't play fantasy football the way Man City does. We can't do it. And there's
agreed.
There's too many teams with money right now. I mean, God help us if Newcastle's 380 million deal goes through, because not even Man City will be able to outbid them for players.
But Apollo. We were in, or supposedly in, for Van Dijk when he was at Celtic. Before he went to Southampton for £12 million, right? Salah was cheaper, Mane was cheaper. So I'm not saying that we can get all these players, but these players are out there. You need good scouting network and take some risks. We buy the Mustafi, the Gabriels, the Xhakas, all over 30 million and end up losing on them.
Because you think about it, yeah? You think about it. What had Liverpool won before they got Van Dijk?
Well, they could have won when they had Sterling and Suarez up front when they lost to Crystal Palace. They could have won that year.
But
They had a chance. We haven't had a chance to win since God knows when. They were close to the title. Should have won it if Gerrard didn't slip.
I know.
Against Chelsea, right? They could have won the league.
But they hadn't won anything since 2008.
I agree, but at least they came close.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to Klopp. We haven't come close in a while. You notice every year we're regressing and regressing. We're going to end up mid-table at some point, where this is where we are now. We're going to be in mid-table. We invest in the team. Let's not say we don't invest.
Okay,
We spent over 140 million last year, so we shouldn't say we don't invest in the team. We don't invest smartly, but we invest.
Okay, so let me go around the board one more time before we finish. And guys in the chat, I want to hear from you as well. Let me start with Dan. In the last 10 remaining games, I originally said we were going to win 2 out of our 10. And when we did it last week on 101, I increased it to 3. I still said we were only going to get 14 out of our remaining 30 points. Have you changed from your decision? How many games do you now think that we're going to win in our last remaining 9 games? So for me, I said 3 out of 10. So that means that we need to win 3 out of our next 9 for me to get my sum right. Guys in the chat as well, how many games are we going to win in our last 9 games? Dan, I'll go with you, and then we'll finish up.
I'm not going to be stupidly positive, but I do feel like we're going to string a little run together. I know we've got difficult games and that, but I do think we're going to string a little run together. So 4, 5, yeah, that's a
5. And wow, that's big time, because remember we still got 4 top teams to play. Spurs, Leicester, Wolves.
Spurs are not a top team.
Liverpool.
Liverpool, I don't think we've got a hope in hell. But
I think Liverpool are going to.
We can beat Spurs. We're playing Leicester in it as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can beat Leicester. We can beat these teams. It's just whether our players get their heads together. Because I would have said before this City game this year, we've been all right, man. Look, we've had the best form in the entire league. It's just that break is now. What's it done to us? That's what it is. We don't actually know.
So we've got some numbers coming in now. 18 is going. He thinks we're going to win 4 out of our next 9. James is saying we're going to win 3 out of that. That's practically the same as me. 5 draws, 1 loss. I think, James, it's going to be 3 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses. That's what I think. African Guna, how do you think we're going to end up? Have you changed from your decision from last week, or are you going to stick by your guns?
So I think, if I remember correctly, in December I had lost all hope. I thought I had given up on the season. I didn't think we were going to make Europa. Nothing. I mean, I was down in the dumps. I had just given up on Arsenal. I think this break, because it was so long and because of what's happening in the world, I got rejuvenated. And then Arsenal does this to fans all the time. We get false hope and then we just get put back into reality. And today, for me, was one of those days when I got put back into reality. And, it definitely, I think Champions League is out of question. Now it's only whether or not we're going to make Europa League. And that's, again, always hoping that United or Chelsea and other teams are going to have to drop points, which I don't know if they will. So for me, I think, I agree with you. I think 3 wins max. I think we're going to draw against Leicester and Wolves. I don't see us winning against them. And if we get more injuries, we already got 2 injuries today. It looks like Xhaka is done. Mari probably pulled something. Looks like he's going to be out for a while. And I'm pretty sure because of this, hefty schedule over the next couple of weeks, I think a lot of other players are also going to start dropping. And I can see, a couple more losses or a couple more bad results. And don't be surprised if Lacazette and Aubameyang stop playing for the badge. We've seen it happen many, many times over many seasons when Arsenal players just give up because they just, there's no more ambition and they don't see the club going anywhere. So they just give up and move.
This is the 5th game that Lacazette hasn't started now.
Yeah.
And, Nketiah is the proven choice for Arteta. He's giving Arteta what he wants. and Lacazette isn't doing that. Nay is saying that she's going with 4 wins in our last 9 games. Emery is saying 2. That's what I originally said before them lot coaxed me into a number 3. Is we beat Norwich and Watford. Yeah, those are the 2 games. I actually said I didn't think that we would beat Villa. So the 2 wins from me was both coming from Watford and Norwich, who, guess what? We didn't beat previously. We drawed both of those teams previously. We haven't even beaten Norwich and Watford, but I know that was under Emery.
Just Apollo on that point, those 2 games. I mean, look, listen, our structure today was much, much better. I think against a Norwich or one of the lesser teams, I think we'll do way better. I just think, unfortunately, we played against one of the best teams in the world, and their quality just outshone us. But I'm positive to play against the lesser teams, even against Leicester and stuff. If we keep the discipline that we did today and maybe have a better starting 11, I think we have a shot.
Possibly, yeah, but those 2 wins are definitely guaranteed for me. Scrickaball's gone for 4 wins. Cool K has gone for 2 wins. Cool K, didn't you say we were going to get 30 out of 30 points the other day? Now you're telling me we're going to get 2 in other. What's some mad food right now? James is saying we can't keep falling in love. Yeah, but that's what it is. That's why I've always tried to be real, bro. Yeah, when everyone was giving 25 points out of the next 30 and whatever, I was given 14, and I think Bertram was there as well. Bertram, what's going to be the situation?
I think we'll win 4 games. Look, I still think he should have played Pepe today. I know we talk about his defensive abilities, but if you're going to play an exceptional team, you need to have difference makers on the field. Pepe is a difference maker, and you can't just have average players against exceptional players. So he may not play as well defensively, but you know what? I was impressed with the defense today. The 2 wing backs played well, and Mustafi played well, apart from when he slipped, because he always slips at some point during the game. Yeah. But I thought Mustafi played well. Our left side, I don't think Mario had a great game before he left, and David Luiz is David Luiz. We know what we're going to get. So, look, I do think that we'll win 4 games. I think he'll play Pepe and Lazy going forward. I'm not sure what happened to Lazy. There was no clarification as to why he didn't make the squad, why he didn't make the trips. He's sick?
No,
okay, so
this thing, that's always the excuse when he's running.
That happens a little bit too frequently. I mean, forget about the money. If you're a footballer, you should want to play, right? Whatever the reason is. If you have a little cold, then you should just suck it up and go play. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about Lazy anymore because he should be moved on. Yeah. But I do think we can win 4 or 5 games. Wolves will be tough. We will lose to Liverpool. Tottenham will be tough because I'm sure their legs are going to be up into playing us. Leicester's going to be tough. We have some tough games.
Yeah.
But the Norwich and the Watford game, if we put a good team on the field, my concern is the centre-half position. Because if Chambers is not fit, we have a problem. I think Chambers Mustafi would work really well. I don't see Holding playing well. He hasn't played well since his injury. I'm not sure I don't see Socrates in that position. He's too slow. So I'm not sure who else will be able to partner Mustafi. But Mustafi's set. I think Arteta liked Mustafi, and he's playing him, and he's playing well.
I think, if it gets urgent, then they might throw Klasnach in there because, right now the injuries are starting to pile up. I don't know what they're going to do, if I'm honest.
Can we play Saliba? Are we allowed? Like, what's going on with the situation? Are we allowed?
Yeah, not after the 30th of June, from what I know. Okay. I spoke to Igal, the kid, about it, and he says contractually that it's 30th of June. That's when the loan date finishes. So that's what's on the contract. Style is saying 4 wins. So, yeah, look, if the injuries pile up, guys, we're in big trouble, man. We're in big trouble. Anyone got any closing arguments before I leave, Dan?
Nope. I said 4 or 5. Everyone's pretty much saying the same thing, like 4 or 5 or 3. I don't think we're going to win a few more games, man. We are going to, because, we're not that bad, do you know what I mean? This is our first game back as well. And I know it's City's first game back, but this is our first game back. So let's let the lads get into it. You don't know what they're going with yet. We've been all right this season since Arteta's joined. So let's just see what we're doing. We've got a positive atmosphere. And it's only, who have we actually lost tonight? Xhaka, who's a liability at times, and Mari, who barely played this year. Yeah. He barely played anyway. And David Luiz, thank God, because after what he did, you see what I mean? So, yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, all right, I'm going to shut it down now because we've gone past the hour and 20 minutes. Thanks to everybody who's in the chat. Really appreciate it. Bertram, have you... hold on, I'm trying to get Bertram back in here. Hold on.
I'm here.
He is here.
Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, look, don't be disheartened. I keep telling fans that when they make a prediction, predict objectively. Don't predict like a fan. We seem to have a lot of fans on the last time we talked about this who were predicting us to beat City. And I'm thinking, I know that we've been locked down, but stop drinking in your home. Stop getting all drunk and bit crazy.
For the record, guys, you know, I never went for it. I went 2-2 was the best I could hope for, man.
That 2-2 was overly optimistic. As I said before, if you look at the teams play, they're just better than we are. But I'm encouraged by the defense. That's the most important thing. Yeah. I'm encouraged by the two wing backs because Tierney is now in full flight. He played well today. Bellerin looked like he's much fitter and he's recovered much better. Mustafi, I'm encouraged by also, given his error-prone ways, and hopefully he keeps it up. We just need someone to partner him, sort out the midfield, and we'll be okay. And by the way, Nketiah played well. No matter what anyone says, he played well. No, he played well. He had some chances to do something when he had the ball, but his energy is key.
Yeah.
His energy is key. His energy put pressure on them, which Aubameyang doesn't do. And I thought Saka was lost tonight. And I'm not sure how he doesn't get more grief. I know he's 18, 19, but he was lost in the game tonight. But I'm not discouraged.
So hopefully, before we go, I just want to say that African Gooner's probably going to get his wish on Saturday against in our next game. Martinelli's probably going to start now.
100%, he has to. Definitely has to. And my closing remarks was disappointed tonight, but Arsenal, I still love you.
Excellent. All right, then, guys, that's it from us. Thank you to everybody who's joined us in the show. Thank you, Nay. She was saying we're hoping for a draw. Yeah, me too. Same as me. Thanks, everybody. And listen, we're going to be back on Sunday at 8 o'clock. And I hope you guys will join us. We'll cover off what happens on our game against Saturday. And I think it's time for us to take the FA Cup very seriously. All right, then, guys. Peace out. Right back at you. Have a good one, man. Nice one.